WWE versus AEW.
We're about to make history, each and every one of you. We use the word revolution because this is a revolution.
I am NXT, and I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, a little bit of the bubbly.
Bro. This is an official declaration of war tonight to anyone who wants to get in my way and anybody who stands in AEW's way.
We are NXT!
This is what you call a paradigm shift.
Oh, do you know what? For the first episode, I was going to start off with a big intro, but it seems fitting to just start off with a story. This story, I love it. This is basically just on Twitter now, right? So basically, some of you might not have heard, right? So there's a British independent company called Southside, right? And Southside have just recently announced that they've merged with Rev Pro, who are partners with New Japan Pro Wrestling, okay? So Southside had agreed with WWE that they could use some of the NXT UK talent, some of the lesser names like Joseph Connors, El Ligero on their final show, as they've been big parts of Southside wrestling, okay? So obviously WWE have found out that Southside are merging with Rev Pro, so WWE have done what WWE do best. They pulled Joseph Connors and El Ligero from wrestling on the show. Okay, so a big shitstorm starts on Twitter, as it always does. I stirred the pot a little bit myself. So anyway, as I'm about to start recording this show, what do I see on Twitter? AEW Cody Rhodes have announced that Shawn Spears and MJF will now be flying over to the UK to wrestle on the first ever Southside show. Brilliant. That is just brilliant. That's a sign of everything we've got to come over the next, hopefully, years. Just brilliant stuff in it. What a story to get us started with. So, everyone, welcome to the WWE versus AEW podcast. As you know, we've got, Wednesday night, the big first head-to-head between AEW and WWE, as it is AEW Dynamite, as we've recently found out the name of their television show on TNT, will be going head-to-head with NXT on USA. So we've got that coming up on Wednesday. So I've had this in my mind. Obviously, AEW formed, January? So I've been doing podcasts in the meantime, but I've always had in the back of my mind that I wanted to do a WWE versus AEW, because I've always wanted a target for a podcast, a subject. Do you know what I mean? And this is just great in it to have such a big subject, and one that we're all interested in, one that we've, for 15, 20 years, we've all wanted someone to come up there and step up to WWE to make, if anything, just to make it interesting, to make WWE better, and we've finally got it. Like some of you, I suppose, I listen to some of the old WWE, WCW, Nitro, and Raw podcasts, and do you know what I mean? It's just great to go back and listen to all the news as it was happening and documented. So I thought it'd be good to do something for this. So as it stands, the plan is weekly we are going to be doing a WWE versus AEW podcast. Episodes are going to be released on a Friday. It's basically what we're going to be doing on the show. We're just going to be talking about what's happened on the shows that week. So we'll be running through Dynamite. Dynamite sounds weird saying that. Running through Dynamite, running through the 2-hour NXT show. We'll be talking about the big news of the week. We'll be talking about the ratings from the previous week. Do you know what I mean? Who's winning in the ratings? We'll also be giving awards at the end of the show for the match of the week. So I stole that from the Match of the Day program over here. And then the show of the week. So I will be choosing what I think is the show of the week. I'll be putting polls up on our Twitter page as well, so you can participate in that. So if you just follow us on Twitter, it is WWE versus AEW. Easy. Follow us on Twitter. Hope you all enjoy the podcast. So basically, the plan is at the moment, obviously, you might recognise me from Wrestling Newspaper, and we're actually changing to Neutral Wrestling, so we'll be known as Neutral Wrestling going forward, something that's been in the works for a while. As the Wrestling Newspaper name for me is just... We're not a fucking newspaper, are we? Sorry for swearing. We're not a newspaper, are we? So why would we call Wrestling Newspaper? Anyway, so yeah, Neutral Wrestling, because we are pro wrestling neutrals. WWE versus AEW, we're smack bang in the middle. If anything, my favourite promotion really is New Japan. So I'm completely unbiased for WWE versus AEW. I'm just excited, really, as you can tell by the spring in my steps. Yeah, so that is what the podcast is going to be about. As I say, every Friday, we will have the show in your Apple Podcasts, on your Podbean, Spotify, Google, whatever it is you listen to podcasts or subs. Hit that subscribe button. I'll also be doing the YouTube, so subscribe to us on YouTube. So that's basically what the show's going to be. So let's just talk about the preview. So the shows for next week. Next week, we've got WWE NXT on the Wednesday night. Obviously, Dynamite on the Wednesday night. Some of the matches that have been announced, they've really, really stacked up these shows, haven't they? I mean, let's have a look at AEW. AEW, they're going to open Dynamite with the first ever Dynamite match. It is going to be Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. Some of you might not be too familiar with Sammy Guevara. I think he was he in the... I think he was in the opening match at Double or Nothing in the pre-show against... I can't remember who he was against. But anyway, he was in the pre-show. This guy, I've seen him wrestle a lot in PWG. Really talented guy. Very charismatic. So I'm sure him and Cody will have a good match. Surprising match to open. But hey, they must be doing it for a reason. They must think that these two can go out there and have a good match. Other matches on the show. There's MJF versus Brandon Cutler. You're expecting really that match will just be to get MJF over to the new television audience. So yeah, you can see why they're doing that. MJF going to be a big star for the company. We've also got the AEW Women's title. The first champion is going to be crowned as Nyla Rose. So Nyla Rose against Rio. Should be a good match. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be like little woman versus big woman. They always make for interesting matches. Obviously, Nyla Rose, you expect to dominate most of that match. Personally, I think they're going to go with Nyla Rose for the win. Didn't really like the way she's really talented in the ring. I wasn't so keen on how they booked her in some of the matches on the 4 pay-per-views that they've done so far. I think there was a couple. I think she got outshined, didn't she, by Awesome Kong in the opening in the Double or Nothing match. And then she was in that triple threat match on, was it Fyter Fest, I think. So hopefully, I think they should go with a pretty dominant Nyla Rose win here, set her across. Do you know what I mean? She's going to be the giant of the women's division and the number 1 woman at the moment. Also, we've got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho and 2 mystery partners. Now, we all expect those mystery partners to be LAX, but LAX debuted at All Out recently, so you'd think they'd just say it's going to be Jericho and LAX if that was going to be the case. So by saying it's going to be Jericho and 2 mystery partners, that's still what they're advertising. Maybe we're going to get a big surprise. Do you know what I mean? It's the first TV show. Surely they've got something in the works for a big surprise. All them years ago in WCW, they had big surprises in their opening show. So, the first ever Nitro. So you get someone who's going to walk through the shopping mall or through the arena. Hopefully it's a big surprise, but hey, if it's LAX, that's good enough for me. But they'll have a great 6-man tag to main event. You presume main event the show. So yeah, Dynamite is going to be really interesting. Obviously, there's going to be a few angles. Hopefully, there will be. We've got Jon Moxley announced for the show. His first appearance in AEW since competing in the G1, I think. I think that's right. So obviously they're going to have to do something to get a big bang, big excitement going forward. They need to go out there and just something huge got to happen. It's got to happen. They can't just have a run-of-the-mill show. They can have those sort of shows in 10, 11, 12 weeks' time. They need to go out there. Something big needs to happen. Hopefully, a big surprise. I think I saw a few tweets, how great would it be if the Revival walked down now. Don't think that's happening, but you never know. Maybe Briscoes, maybe? I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're still contracted with Ring of Honor. So that's Dynamite. WWE, well, they're really going for it. Now, I don't know if you watched NXT during the week, which I did, you'll have heard Mauro Ranallo constantly say that there is not going to be many commercials on this episode of NXT, so it's going to be a light commercial show. So you're going to expect to see most of these matches in full, if anything, and the matches, well, this is takeover level. Adam Cole versus Matt Riddle for the NXT Championship. Shayna Baszler versus Candice LeRae for the women's title. You've got Fish and O'Reilly against the Street Profits for the tag team titles. So you've got 3 titles on the line already right there. And then you've got Johnny Gargano in action against Shane Thorne. So it's no mistake, NXT are going for it. Do you know what I mean? In this first show, they're pulling everything out, which... really, if history shown us anything, WWE were always going to do that. Do you know, the thing is though, right, don't know how people agree with this, but do you know what I mean? It's great that WWE are going to be trying now. NXT's always been good to people. I'm not saying I necessarily agree with that, but people have always loved NXT. But a part of me thinks, do you know what I mean? Why did you need someone else to put on great wrestling shows? Why did you need someone else to force it for you? Why couldn't you just give us these great... Do you know what I mean? I've been watching WWE now for 20... Well, I properly started watching it 2000, 2001. Do you know what I mean? There's been some good times. There's been some horrific times during then. And a part of me's thinking, do you know what? It's like the ex-girlfriend that's been horrible to you for 15 years. And eventually you think, you know what? There's a better model coming along. So I'm going to go with her, see what she's got to offer me. That is how, I'm not saying that's how I feel, but that is how some people in the wrestling community are going to feel. And you can't really blame them. And then you've got the other people on the other hand who I'm sure are thinking, what are you on about? You've got the diehard WWE fans, been there since day one. They're adamant that they're big WWE fans, and they're saying that WWE is it's gonna be easy to beat AEW if that's what the goal is. But yeah, 2 great shows coming up. Wednesday night is gonna be big. I've had people asking me, what am I gonna be watching? What am I gonna be watching live? Well, I don't have a choice because WWE NXT. I don't know why I keep calling it WWE NXT. NXT isn't available for me over here at the moment. Obviously. Sky Sports they're ending their relationship with WWE going forward. They're going to BT Sport in January, so obviously Sky Sports aren't going to be taking on additional programming for WWE. So fully expect NXT to be on BT when they go over there in January. But at the moment, for me, it's just going to have to be waiting for the network the following evening or by other means. We'll see. So yeah, for me, people want to know what I'm watching. I'm watching Dynamite live. Now, I've talked about how I'm able to watch NXT in the UK, so I've got to wait a day for the showing on the WWE Network. Now, that brings us really to the big news story of the week. It's taken Twitter by storm. I've seen complaints. I've started a lot of the complaints. So, let's go back, right? I feel like I'm in a good position to talk about this, being from the UK myself. So, ITV, for those of you that don't know, are the second biggest TV programming, TV channel in the UK. They're the second biggest, yeah. They've got channels it's not the main channel that AEW's on, I think the highlight show is, but it's ITV4 that AEW is going to be on. Now, we all assumed it was just going to be live, right? But ITV announced this week that Dynamite is going to be shown on a Sunday morning. That is 4 days after it has taken place. Sunday morning at 8:20 a.m. Now, this isn't ITV. This isn't going to get loads of people. Do people even do that anymore? When you wake up and you just shove a certain channel on? They don't do that for ITV4. Certainly not at 8:20. I had a joke on a Twitter this week that most people in England are pretty much getting in from the night before on a Sunday morning at 8:20. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Obviously, some people aren't like that. But anyway, so that is not really ITV. I was very disappointed. It's not very good for AEW at all. As soon as they announced this, the backlash on Twitter was fierce. The UK fans were very, very unhappy by this. So I felt a bit sorry for Tony Khan. He was getting all the abuse. But you've got to say, You had, you take you back to StarCast, it was a night with the Bucks and Cody, the night before Double or Nothing, and you had Cody Rhodes sat there. I think he'd been out until 8:20am in the morning, but Cody Rhodes, God love him, he was there. He was joking how AEW have got such a great TV deal, miles better than WWE's on BT, which is probably the case, but he's saying that, and he's getting everybody's hopes up. But to me, as a fan, I would sooner be able to watch AEW live as it's happening on BT than on a 4-day delay. I'm not going to be watching that. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to be watching that. I would find other ways of watching AEW. So I'm not going to wait for it. It's 2019, do you know what I'm saying? People are not going to wait 4 days. You know what wrestling's like? As soon as something happens 4 days later, people aren't interested in it. It's like the independents over here. Progress are releasing their big shows 7, 8, 9 days after it's happened. By then, people don't care anymore. It's just the way that it is. But I think the news had only been announced for a few hours when Tony Khan and Fight TV tried to salvage something from this terrible PR job. And Tony Khan, he announced that AEW Dynamite, the episodes, they'll stream live in the UK and everywhere else in the world that they don't have a television deal. They will be live on Fight TV for a $4.99 monthly subscription or $2.99 per episode. Now, to me, I'm going to be honest, I don't care. I don't care about paying $5. That's about £4 over here. Don't really care about paying that. I've got that many wrestling subscriptions at the moment. What's another £4? Do you know what I mean? It's a meal deal at the shop. For people who don't know what a meal deal is in the States, over here you can get a can of pop, packet of Chris, and a packet sandwich for about £3 from one of the supermarkets. So I don't have a problem paying that much. But a lot of people do. The English aren't exactly the most expansive with the wallets at times. I can say that because I am English. But yeah, so people weren't happy about that. But at least we can watch it live. I mean, I pay a lot of money for Virgin over here, which is, I don't know, I think it's similar to DirecTV in the States, where we pay like £100 a month for it. Because I know everything's all stream these days. But for me, just sometimes I don't want to have to get my laptop out, connect it up to the TV, make sure the laptop's on charge. Every time I want to pause it, I'm a bit lazy. Every time I get up, I don't want to have to go to my laptop and pause it. I like to be sat in the comfort of my living room, in a nice comfy chair, feet up, flicking with a remote. That's what I want to be doing. So, Tony, ITV, get it on ITV4, please, live. Do you know what I mean? I'll do it at first on Fight TV, but after that, I'm not really sure. Well, I will, but I'd prefer it not to be like that. Oh, tell you what, it's a lot harder doing a show on your own than it is when you're with some. Just let me have a drink of my YouFit vanilla protein shake. You're not meant to drink on our own podcast, but I'm solo. I can do what I want, really, can't I? Oh, aching from that gym session before. Oh, right. So we've talked about the UK TV deal. What else do I want to talk about? We previewed the shows for you. I'm excited for those shows on Wednesday. Explain to you basically what the podcast is going to be about. Do you know what I mean? My aim for the podcast, really, I personally prefer listening to, say, a 2-hour podcast. Some podcasts, you know what I mean? I'm going to give them, plug them, whatever. I listen to Grapple. I listen to the Jcast. I listen to those podcasts. They're probably my 2 favourite wrestling podcasts. I listen to those, and they're 2 hours. But you don't want to listen to me babble on for 2 hours. But my favourite podcasts do usually go 2 hours. However, for a solo show, I think half an hour is about right. Do you know what I mean? You don't really want it going longer than that. So, as I say, I just want to do the podcast. Obviously, who knows? 3 years' time, if it's still going, I might not like wrestling anymore. I'd be surprised. But, hey, my plan is weekly episodes every Friday talking about Dynamite, talking about NXT. Who knows? In a few years, maybe it'll be AEW Dynamite versus Monday Night Raw. Who knows? But for now, it's going to be NXT battling AEW Dynamite. So yeah, as I say, we previewed the 2 shows. There wasn't much else that I actually wanted to talk about in this pilot episode. I think we'll end just by quickly talking about the ratings for NXT for the first 2 weeks. I've enjoyed these first 2 weeks of NXT. I wasn't the biggest fan, if I'm honest, of the weekly shows. As for me, an hour show where it took place 4 weeks before, where all the spoilers have got out, it's just not for me. But I've enjoyed watching them live. Well, watching them the next day, but still watching them live. They've been good shows. The first show was probably overall a better show. We had that great Oni Lorcan and Leo Rush match. We also had, was it Roderick Strong against Velveteen Dream. We had a great women's match to open the show. The crowd was so hot for that. And week 1, that did 1.179 million viewers, which is that's brilliant, really. 1.179 million viewers on USA, a rating of 0.43. The second week that just watched, I really enjoyed the first hour. We had a really good. I love watching Keith Lee against Donovan Dijak matches, or what is he? Dominic Dijakovic, whatever he's called in NXT. Donovan Dijak, let's be honest. Keith Lee versus Donovan Dijak. Love watching their matches. They had a great match. We had a Matt Riddle, Killian Dane match, which was fun. So yeah, the first hour was great, and then the second hour it was just basically squash matches. It was just getting people like Rhea Ripley, Trevor, what is he called? Cameron Grimes, is it? He's Trevor Lee, but Cameron Grimes, trying to get Cameron Grimes over, trying to get Oni Lorcan and Danny Burch over, who seem to have been reformed as a tag team after Oni Lorcan's 205 Live run. Then we had a Kushida in a tag in the main event. So the second hour wasn't very good. The first hour was. And week 2 it was down. Obviously, the first week did 1.179 million, and week 2 did 1.006 million. So just a shade over a million, with an overall rating of 0.32. So yes, very steady ratings for the first 2 shows. Now, it will be what's going to be most interesting for the ratings for next week is how much, if any, of that rating are AEW going to take. Do you know what I mean? So say it does a million, around a million, yeah? Who knows? You might take 300,000, 200,000 of those. You might not. Do you know what I mean? I think, is it Meltzer? He keeps saying that a lot of the people who are buying the AEW pay-per-views are not the people buying the WWE pay-per-views. Do you know what I mean? I'm not quite sure about that, because who really is buying WWE pay-per-views at the moment? A lot of us are network members. Do you know what I mean? Network subscribers. So I think we'll wait to see on that. But so yeah, it's going to be interesting, and that's the main interest. What's AEW going to do? I've been reading a lot of stuff this week that people in the TV industry, they're saying that they're expecting 500,000 viewers for AEW Dynamite on TNT. I personally think that's a bit of a letdown. Do you know what I mean? But I think TNA, what was their record? Was it like 1 million or something? Might be wrong. Was it 1 million? I think they did 1 million at one point. So really, TNT, I think you're hoping to get 1 million, aren't you, really? It'd be great if they got more, but I think you'd hope to at least get the 1.006 million that NXT got on USA. So yeah, I'm going to say, if I'm going to predict, I'm going to say, we'll see if I'm right next week, I'm going to say 1.1 million viewers AEW is going to get. I think, I'm going to be honest, I think they're just slightly going to beat NXT, but we might be wrong. Do you know what I mean? There is a lot of diehard WWE fans out there. To be honest, if I could watch both shows, obviously I can't, so I have to watch AEW. I'd probably go with the AEW show just because it's history in it. It's the first ever show. Everyone's going to remember the first ever show. But that NXT card is looking rather tasty. So yeah, whatever you're watching, it's going to be great. Do you know what I mean? I'm so excited. Wednesday night is the big night, as I said. It's just great time to be a wrestling fan, isn't it? It is great times to be a wrestling fan. So yeah, so next week we'll be back, as I've said. I'll be telling you what I think is the show of the week from the first week. We're going to run through NXT. We're going to run through Dynamite. Hopefully the ratings are out by then. We're going to be awarding the show of the week, the match of the week. I'm sure there'll be loads more news items out there that we're going to discuss. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. It's just a pilot show. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. As I say, hit that subscribe button. YouTube, get us on Podbean, Apple Podcast. Just search WWE versus AEW. Follow us on Twitter, WWE versus AEW. Also follow Neutral Wrestling on Twitter, at Neutral Res. Look at the Neutral Wrestling YouTube channel. I think the WWE vs AEW channel is going to be on Neutral Wrestling's YouTube channel, so look out for us on that. Just subscribe, listen to the show. Do you know what I mean? This is the start. This is where it all begins. In years' time, well, you're probably not going to listen back to this episode in years' time, but hey, somebody might do. Someone, somewhere might be thinking, do you know what? I'll listen to that pilot episode. But if not, it's been emotional. What have we gone, about 25 minutes. So I think you've heard enough from me. It's an exciting period to come in wrestling. Do you know what I mean? Don't be like bitter like everyone. Don't be complaining on Twitter. I love complaining on Twitter, but hey, enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? It's been, 2001 since WCW folded, Impact tried, but they never really got there. Do you know what I mean? So really, it has been, 18 years since we've had viable competition for WWE. So enjoy it. If you stuck through wrestling for these 20 years, a lot of people, they stopped watching wrestling when the Monday Night Wars ended. This is for you. Enjoy it. Wednesday night, WWE versus AEW.
All right, we're good.
Huh?
Yeah.
Good. Oh, geez, that whole SOPs. Do you like it?
Yeah,
I think they're gonna buy it. That ought to hold those fucking SOPs, right? That ought to hold those SOPs. I was thinking, no. Listen. I was thinking, okay, maybe if this is gonna be like a formal apology, I should write something down. We've got a PR guy I can call them because there's so much damage done. Jesus Christ, TK is fuming. I'm not supposed to say something like that. What am I thinking, right? And then I would see so many burner accounts from the wrestlers. And I know it's from the wrestlers because they're even bigger marks than the people that fill the seats. Damn it, just come at me, bro. You think I'm hiding? You think I have fake accounts? What's the problem? What are you so scared? I'll tell you one guy. Okay, I'm gonna give him a little bit of credit. He's some sort of ROH guy, tall, lanky guy. You know, Donovan. Name starts with a D. I don't even know what it is.
They've never said on TV, so how could you?
No, it's a boom.
You're right.
And he's not even used, okay? But I can see him. He's Donovan Dickhead, right? Sitting there. Now Triple H will push me. I'm gonna get the TV time now. I'm gonna stand up for the team. What? I speak a promo in character, okay? What is he mad that I said bad things about John Moxley? No. How many fans do you think came to me and said, Kenny, they're not cool, bro. You really want to hurt John Moxley? You're not sympathetic to his injury? How many people do you think fucking said that? No, it's these children. It's these people that barely have a grasp on the English language, and they're tweeting at me saying, no, just how dare you say that? These guys are developmental talent. They're not developmental. And they're better than you. Actually, they did more for the business than you. Okay,